the push for reparations, this is part of a larger reparations story. You know, from time to time on the show, we've talked about reparations. I will continue to do that. I do believe that Black Americans, descendants of enslaved people, deserve reparations. It is generationally long overdue. But the push for reparation continues, and let's go to Los Angeles, where a family has reclaimed what is rightfully theirs. This headline: family to sell Bruce Beach property back to LA County for nearly $20 million. That reporting is coming from the Los Angeles Times. So let's give some context to this story. 6 months ago, Los Angeles County leaders signed off on an unprecedented transaction. They would return 2 parcels of beachfront property in Manhattan Beach to the Bruce family, the first example of the government giving back land to a Black family after acknowledging it had been stolen. On Tuesday, the county announced a surprise twist in the historic deal. The family would sell the Bruce's beach property back to the county for nearly $20 million. Now let's go a little deeper in this history, and Brett is very familiar with this, so we're gonna bring in the expert on this. In the early 1900s, Willa and Charles Bruce were pushed out of a bustling resort they had built, beloved by the area's Black community. The KKK, along with other white residents of the area, plotted to drive the family away, and city officials later condemned their property in 1924 through eminent domain, claiming they needed the lot for a park. The family's resort was demolished and the Bruce family moved away. The park would not be built for decades. And I want you all to know there are many, many stories about Black people having their land confiscated, stolen from them all over this country. This is not a unique story, unfortunately. And the last point on this: in an effort to right the wrongs of the past, the board made the momentous decision in June to return the Manhattan Beach land to the descendants of the Bruces, a move celebrated nationally by reparations advocates. As part of the agreement, Bruce family members had a 2-year window in which they could require the county to buy back the property from them. They have decided to do just that. Brett.
These are things that when people hear, they're like, wait a minute, the KKK was in Los Angeles? And the answer is yes. And when you talk about reparations, this really does draw a straight line back to the Civil War, because pre-Civil War era, because the KKK is the ghosts of the Civil War. And this was a vibrant African American community in Manhattan Beach, south of the airport, where people came and they were succeeding, and the KKK wasn't having it. So they burned down many parts of that community, and it was stolen. And to add insult to injury, Manhattan Beach, like I used to walk by this, it is a paradise. Bruce's Beach is a gorgeous park that is it enough for us to just rename it Bruce's Beach afterwards? They did, but everyone pushed, like, you have to give it back. And if you walk by it, it is the richest, whitest people sitting outside every day holding court, have the richest, whitest conversations in the world on the graveyard of what used to be the thing that people on the right advocate. Like, why don't you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and start your own business? Start from scratch. They did, it was stolen, and LA had the good sense, after being pressured, that's a very important part, to give it back. And now they can get what was theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. And keyword, pressured to do so. I don't know, Brett, the next time I'm out there, you gotta take me by there. I must see this. And we did interview economist, author, professor, Dr. William Darity Jr. and author Christian Mullins on the show to talk about a larger point about reparations to enslaved, to descendants of enslaved people in this country. And the title of the book, From Here to Equality, and those authors make a very strong case for reparations globally for Black people in this country. And one of the things that Dr. Darity once said, that while support for education and entrepreneurial activity should be a part of any reparations plan, the preponderance of funds must go to individual recipients, and they must go in such a way that we, in fact, eliminate the racial wealth gap, he said. And he said this on NPR. Dr. Darity and Professor or Ms. Mullins, they are so absolutely correct about that. We will continue to talk about reparations. So glad that the descendants of the Bruce family will get something that they have deserved for a very, very, very long time.